Well, hello everybody, and a very warm welcome to Philbert Flies. I'm Philbert, and today we're going to be seeing a little bit more of Japan. We're going to be flying the A320 Neo with the A32NX mod on operating flight NH663, the all-Nippon flight from Tokyo Haneda to Nagasaki. Hello Harry, hello it's Napster. Hey, it's Napster, nice to see you both. How are you? Right, so let's start setting up. I haven't done any prep other than turning the power on, so we'll start the Flight Crew A320 events.
Let's start setting up, shall we?
Which will bring the jetway over. And we'll jump on board and start setting up the cockpit. Part of my thinking behind this is that while we wait for the IRSs to align and the pre-flight actions in Flight Crew A320 to be completed, we can have a little bit of a look around the airport. And maybe even a look around some of Tokyo briefly. So here we are. If we move up to the overhead panel, in fact I'll look at it this way so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I've got the external power on and battery 1 and 2 switches on, and I've got the nav and logo lights on, which should be on whenever the aircraft is powered up. So the first thing to do is turn the IRS switches to nav, like so. And then we want to extinguish all the white lights on the overhead panel. So I will turn on the fuel pumps. We will turn on the crew oxygen supply. And we will arm the emergency exit lights. So that's all the white lights done away with. We may as well set the air conditioning temperatures as well while we're up here. Although of course until we start the APU there won't actually be any air flowing through the air conditioning system. If we come back down to the main panel, we will sort our brightnesses out. They're quite dim, perfect for night flying, not so good for during the day. What am I doing? These ones, upper and lower ECAM. And you'll see our cabin door is open because we are boarding passengers. And you'll note that the IRSs will be in alignment in more than 7 minutes. So we've got a bit of time to play with. So that's those screens brightened up, and we will brighten up the FCU panel as well. And now we can start setting up our MCDU. So I planned this flight using SimBrief earlier on. We'll check the nav data. I'm using the beta. I thought I was using the beta Navigraph data. Could be that I've uninstalled it for testing something else out. You just have a quick look to see if that is yeah, it should be installed, but anyway it's not showing up there, it's showing an out-of-date database, but that doesn't really matter for our purposes. So we'll go to the init A page. Oop, I've just closed the chat, let me bring that up in case anyone has anything to say. Right, so the init A page shows our from and to, Tokyo Haneda, Nagasaki. Our flight number is incorrect, I'll change that. So we're NH663 today. Alternative route, company route, not implemented in this version of the A320 at the moment. Cost index we'll use 20. For those of you who don't know, a cost index basically is a figure which gives the aircraft instructions on how to perform in terms of fuel usage versus speed. So the higher the number, the faster it'll go during the cruise and the less efficient it'll be. Okay. Now we'll go to our flight plan page. Now this should all be pre-populated from the SimBrief flight plan, but let's check it. So we are indeed departing from runway 16 left, or we're expecting to, we'll see what ATC clear us for, with the Ninox 2 SID, so that is correct. We'll look at our arrival, and we are using the Fubuki star, which is basically a single waypoint, and then we're expecting the ILS 32 Yankee approach, I believe, or was it Zulu? Yeah, hoping for the Zulu, straight from Fubuki, join the localizer, easy as pie. But again, that we'll leave that blank for now and wait until we're cleared by ATC. We'll move over to the performance page, and I believe the A320NX is now calculating these V speeds before you extend the flaps. But we'll double check that once we've pushed back and the flaps are out to make sure it's stayed the same. So we're going to be doing a flaps 1 takeoff using a flex takeoff temperature of 59 degrees. We'll be using 1528 as our thrust reduction altitude, that's 1500 feet above ground level, and 3028 as our acceleration altitude. I'll just double check on my chart what the transition altitude is, but I believe it's 14,000 feet. My impression is that that's the case throughout Japan, but you know, I've only flown to 3 airports, so I could be totally wrong. Can't find it. Ah yes, 14,000. Yep, transition altitude 14,000. So I'll put that in here. And the transition altitude, for those of you who don't know, is the altitude at which you switch from the local pressure setting to the standard pressure setting of 1013. Climb page, there's not a lot you can do within this particular simulation. And cruise. We're expecting a managed cruise apparently at 250 knots. Seems a little low, but I don't think that's what the aircraft will do. But none of these are modifiable as far as I'm aware, so that will leave them be. Right, and we will now double check how long till the IRSs are in alignment. 3 minutes, fine. And we'll get the APU started to provide air conditioning and later bleed air to start the engine. So we'll turn on the master switch. Can you tell I'm toying with the idea of doing a little tutorial for this at a later date? I'm just wondering, yeah, sort of my plan is to do a sort of a realistic quick start tutorial. So perhaps from cold and dark to start up in 10 minutes, going through all of these things and doing them realistically, but equally not going into huge amounts of depth about all of the systems, because I think there are very, very detailed tutorials and there are very, very basic, this is how you do it sort of things, but I think maybe there might be a gap in the market for something in between. Right, so the flap now is open, which means we can start the APU. And we can monitor the exhaust gas temperature and the N percentage down here. So the estimated flight time today from Haneda to Nagasaki is around about 2 hours, 1 hour 55 minutes scheduled. Hopefully we'll be there in about an hour and 40. It seems plausible with real world flights. Oh, I got a little ding, but I didn't see what happened. Rick Couch, thank you very much for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. Oh, sorry, you didn't subscribe. You followed me on Twitch. Thank you. Right. So as you can see, the exhaust gas temperature here is building. And once that's stable... Hello, Mossy. Welcome. How are things? Once the EGT stabilizes, we will turn on the APU bleed. And then we will let the boarding and everything else carry on, and we'll go and have a little spin around the airport in the drone. Because it's, of course, one of the handcrafted airports by Asobo that's been in the sim since day one, but I'm not overly familiar with it, and it looks good from what I've seen, so we'll have a nose around. If we go, there we are. So obviously you've just noticed, or you may have noticed, that the navigation display has come to life, and that's because the IRSs have aligned and the aircraft knows where we are. And you can see our departure route out there. Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, Mossy. Finished my nights. Haven't had a huge amount of sleep, but I thought I want to go flying at some point today. So be nice to have you all along with me. Right, what was it? APU. APU is now available, so we can turn the APU bleed on, and we no longer need external power because the APU is providing electricity and bleed air. Right, let's nip outside, have a look with the drone, and we'll take a look around. So this runway over to our right is 16 left and 34 right. That's the runway we landed on in our last flight. I'll just speed the drone up a little bit, or we'll be here all day. Do I? Yeah, I'm trying to sound perky. I might wake up a bit with the takeoff, the exhilaration. You never know. So there are two sets of parallel runways at this airport. There's 3-4 right and 16 left just here. And over the other side we have 3-4 left and 16 right, as you would expect, which is over here. You've got, well, we're parked up at Terminal 1. No, we're not. We're parked up at Terminal 2. This is Terminal 1 over here. Let's pop down and have a look. Certainly looks older to me. Not quite as visually appealing as Terminal 2 was. And then over the other side of this runway we have Terminal 3. Bit of a strange strobing effect over here, but never mind. Very nice, swish and modern. And I think we have an interior. It could just be a parallax thing. Yeah, it's just a parallax thing, but nonetheless very nice. Works nicely. And over here, I said the other two runways aren't quite parallel. There's a 04 and a 05. So this is runway 04 slash 22. And over the other side, you may remember from our approach, it's sort of jutting out away from the airport just over here, is runway 23 and runway 05. Yeah.
Hi, the security and safety checks were all done. Are you good to start boarding?
Yes, please
Yes, you can
do.
start boarding.
Please do.
Okay.
Yes, I can't wait for us to have proper traffic that recognises what an appropriate livery is for the airport. We had an EasyJet A320 or A319 parked up near us at Terminal 2 as well. So yes, I thought as Tokyo is now a photogrammetry city, we might have a little fly over it. I'd like to come back and take a small plane over the city at some point, but for now, while we're waiting for the boarding, we'll just use the drone. They need to upgrade the engines in this drone. It's it's slow even on its fastest setting. So all a bit flat over here. I don't know where the photogrammetry starts and ends exactly. I don't know, Mossy, about the new sounds. I'm not sure. I bet it is in the master build. That would be my guess, but I'm not certain. Oh, that's a little blocky and weird, but still quite nice. I was in Tokyo 2 years ago as part of a 3-week trip around Japan, and I wasn't sure if I'd like the cities. I thought I'd find the countryside really appealing, but actually it's an amazing place, and we had a great time there. It's just vast. It's just huge. We were there for the best part of a whole week, and we barely scratched the surface. Here's the Tokyo Tower. I'm wondering if the texturing improves as it loads in, or if this is just as good as it gets. I mean, it's good enough for a flight sim, but it's a little bit. Don't know. Is this a mirrored exterior? I think it probably. Do you know, despite having been to Tokyo, I have no memory of actually seeing the Tokyo Tower up close. I can't comment on its realism. But the detail in this city is just incredible. I mean, it's almost good enough to just walk around, let alone fly over. Yeah, going back to those sounds, Mossy, I have to say, I don't mind the default sounds myself. I think they're alright. So it's not something I've paid all that much attention to, though I'm sure it'll be just included as part of the A320NX stable build eventually. I saw on Discord you're using Axe. Oh right, did you enjoy it? I mean, it's Disneyland, I assume you did. Yeah, this is really remarkable, isn't it? They've got a city the size of Tokyo in collaboration with Bing Maps in all its glory like this. It's pretty spectacular. One day I will look up where we stayed and some of the sites that we visited and actually have a fly over it. But that day is not today because we have some passengers to take to Nagasaki. Just going to sit here a minute and see if the textures load in, and it looks better when you keep still for a bit. You can see a few bits popping in and out here and there. But still, come on, a free upgrade with all of this scenery, not to mention all the handcrafted airports and the other hand-built landmarks all over Japan. Can't complain, can you? Right, let's go back to the airport. There we are. And we'll let the textures load in again. Didn't know you here, nice to see you. Yes, oh really? I haven't experienced much stuttering in big... I did a little bit actually in Copenhagen when I was on approach there. Yeah. Glider Moose, thanks for the sub. Welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoy it. Right, how are we doing for time? Let's get in and have a little look at the clock. So we want to be departing at 01:55 Zulu, so in about 15 minutes. So we've got 15 minutes left on the pre-flight event, so I'll just fast forward it a little bit.
Hi guys, here's the load sheet for you.
Thanks.
No problem, have a safe flight.
Down to 10 minutes. I don't normally pay too much attention to the clock, but it would be nice to depart roughly on time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board.
Right, and while they make their announcement, let's run the before start checklist down to the line.
Before start checklist.
Cockpit prep.
Completed.
Completed. Gear pins and covers.
Removed.
Signs.
On and auto.
ADAs.
Nav.
Fuel quantity.
Set.
Takeoff data.
Set.
Baro ref.
1017 set.
1017 set. Down to the line.
Oh, okay. I'd heard of a pilot's life. I haven't actually looked at it though. I'll give it a whirl. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, was it you, Harry, who was talking about Sim Toolkit Pro and asking if I used it? I downloaded it today because it did look interesting. I couldn't get it working properly, and about half an hour before this flight I'd found a solution, but I haven't had a play with it yet. Right, we should probably get the ATIS. We should also probably turn on the seatbelt sign because I just lied about it being on as part of that checklist. A Sim Toolkit Pro. It's sort of a flight manager, so it works as a logbook. It integrates with SimBrief to speed up your flight planning. You keep track of your flights. Does other stuff as well, but I'm not exactly sure yet. I just saw people saying how good it was, and I thought I'll give it a go. But depending on how I get on with it, I might show you it at some point. Oh yes, ATIS.
Tokyo Haneda International Information Papa 1230 Zulu. Winds are light and variable. Visibility 6 miles. 3000 few clouds. 17,000 broken. Temperature 22, dew point 18. Current QNH is 1016. Arriving and departing runway 16 right, 16 left. Tokyo,
Good.
Haneda
So again, the real weather's pretty close in terms of pressure, and I'm prepared to accept that those are few clouds at 3,000 feet. Just. They're probably more scattered, to be honest. Okay, so we've got the ATIS. Let's get our IFR clearance. All Nippon 663 ready to copy IFR clearance.
All Nippon 663, we don't have a flight plan on file for you.
Oh, it's the Dutch woman who I can't understand. But she is, yeah, I forgot to press the file button. Still something of a beginner with Pilot to ATC. Right, that's the flight plan filed. All Nippon 663 ready to copy IFR clearance.
All Nippon 663 is clear to Romeo Juliet Foxtrot uniform. Climb via the NENOX2 departure, with the NENOX transition, then Asfield. Expect departure runway 16 left. Climb to flight level 250 via the departure. Expect higher clearances 10 minutes after departure. Departure on runway Niner Plan 6 OK 5035.
All Nippon 663 is clear to
I'm not
Romeo
laughing at the
Juliet
Dutch accent, by
Foxtrot
the way.
uniform.
I'm just laughing at what a
Flying via the
Microsoft
Minox
text-to-speech voice
departure
sounds like when
with
you
the
ask it to
Minox
pronounce English.
transition, then
And
as
it's
filed.
supposed to be used for pronouncing
Climb
Dutch.
to flight level 250 via the departure. Expect higher clearances 10
Hello,
minutes
Ubergoop.
after
Welcome. Nice
departure.
to see you again.
Departure on 119.6.
Oh, really?
5035.
Doesn't
Hey
recognise
guys,
your voice.
all packs are on board. Are we clear to close?
Yep.
Thanks, let me know if you need anything.
Mossy, I'm not certain, but I think you can use the Microsoft speech recognition training to help it recognise your voice.
1016 ground on
I think.
118.22 all Nippon 663.
So, we are cleared to 25,000 feet, but via the SID. Now, because the FMS doesn't really follow ascending altitude constraints, I'm going to just have a quick look at the departure routing and do it manually. Oh, that's fine. That's really easy because all of our altitude restraints are or above. So BAYGE 9,000 or above, Seiko 13,000 or above, Ninox 170 or above. So that's all pretty straightforward. So we can just climb out straight to 25,000 feet. Mossy, I think it's in your Windows settings. If you go to speech recognition, yeah, if you like search for speech recognition, then I'm pretty sure it's there. Right, so our doors are closed. We will turn the beacon on. And we'll get ready to depart. Have I forgotten anything? Yes. Turn the flight director on. And set up, make sure that the V speeds are correct in Pilot to 80, in Flight Crew A320. 127.134.136. Does anyone else who uses Flight Crew A320 find it odd that you can't tab between the fields and overwrite the existing text? You just actually have to delete it. I've never come across that before. Right, that should do us. And we're going to push straight back because we are on a sort of a corner. And as far as I'm aware, there's no way to make Pushback Express turn you anything other than 90 degrees. I've got a feeling the AI traffic is using the opposite runway. So that'll make life interesting. Right, below the line.
Below the line.
Windows and doors.
Closed.
Closed. Beacon.
On.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Parking brake.
On.
Before start checklist complete.
All Nippon 663 ready for pushback and engine start.
All Nippon 663 pushback and engine start approved.
Mr. Moss
Pushback and
FTW,
engine
thank you for the
start
follow.
approved all Nippon 663.
Right, let's get pushed back.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, fly deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brake, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
Oh, was that you, Mossy? Thanks. I like double follows. I like a bit of Twitch and a bit of YouTube. Yes, so that you have control bit, Pablo, I believe, I'm not certain, I believe it's based on British Airways SOPs, where the pilot flying does all of the setting up for the approach. The idea being it gives them a better awareness of what they're doing when they're flying it. But yeah, different airlines do things different ways. And in other FS2 crew add-ons...
You are clear behind and you can start your engine at your discretion.
In other FS2 crew add-ons, they do have the option to switch between airline SOPs.
Starting engine 1.
So that may yet come. Hello! Hello, Nushki, how are you? I'm just trusting that I've guessed the distance right this time.
Pushback complete. Set parking brake, please.
Well, that's not bad, is it? That is not bad.
Parking brake set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the left side with the pin.
Thanks, and you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks, have a good flight. See you later.
That little interaction doesn't make much sense, does it? The dispatcher says we've disconnected everything and we'll give you hand signals. And the pilot says you're cleared to disconnect and give me hand signals. That's not quite right. I don't know, Mossy. I think it's quite a lot of money for what it is, if I'm brutally honest. I got a press copy off FS2 crew, and it's certainly better than the default. And the developer says it's going to be continually developed over the next 10 years, so we may ultimately see pushback automatically done to the right place rather than having to guess the distance or steer the pushback tug yourself. So I don't know. I really like the guy. I like his FS2 crew add-ons that he's done for years. So if I hadn't got a press copy, I would have bought it. But I tend to agree. I do think it's a lot of money for the state it's in at the moment.
Please direct your attention to the cabin crew for important safety information. There is an instruction card in your seat pocket that illustrates the safety equipment on board this aircraft. Regulations require compliance with this information as well as all crew instructions, the lighted information signs and posted placards. Fasten your seatbelt by inserting the metal tip into the buckle. Tighten by pulling on the belt. To release your seatbelt, lift the metal flap on the buckle. It is our policy that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times while seated. Doors are clearly marked with exit signs and instructions for door operators. Each door is equipped with an escape slide. Locate the nearest exit to you and note that the nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, lights will illuminate the aisle. The cabin is pressurized.
Okay, so we have two good starts. We'll turn the engine mode selector back to normal. We will turn off the APU bleed and turn off the APU.
And pull a mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen.
Turn on the taxi light.
Oxygen will be flowing to the mask even though the bag may not inflate. Cover your nose and mouth with the mask. Place the elastic band around your head.
And we'll run the after start checklist.
After start checklist.
Before assisting others.
Anti-ice.
Your life jacket is located under you.
I don't think we really need it. It's 21 degrees, but I'll put it on to be on the safe side on this aircraft.
Set.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Pitch trim.
26% we want.
This is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is not permitted in the cabin or in the lavatories. Cabin lights will now be turned off.
And what have we got?
Buttons are located over your head.
Why is it sometimes so hard to read these figures and sometimes it's quite easy? There we are, it looks like 26% to me.
26% set.
Rudder trim.
0.
After start checklist complete.
Flight control check.
Full up. Full down. neutral. Full left. Full right, neutral.
Rudder.
Full left, full right, neutral.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, Mossy. I think it's the best that you can do within the limits of the SDK at the moment. So I don't think that it's something they've rushed out or done any less than they could have done on. But yeah, I can't wait for for us to have something a little bit sharper.
Clear left side.
Clear right side.
Right, let's ask for our taxi clearance. All Nippon 663 ready to taxi. Oh no, no good, no good. Now I think giving the runway number is optional, but let's try again. All Nippon 663 ready to taxi runway 16 left.
All Nippon 663 taxi to runway 16 left via taxiways Juliet 4, India, Echo 8, Oscar, Charlie 10, hold short runway 16 left.
Taxi to runway 16 left via taxiways Juliet 4, India, Echo 8, Oscar, Charlie 10, hold short runway 16 left. All Nippon 663.
Now I've got something to tell you. It's a bit worrying. No, it's not. Last time I took off from here, I got the flight ended saying that I damaged the landing gear, and it was from this runway 16 left. And I'm not sure why it happened. I flew it exactly like I normally fly it. So there is a chance this may all go horribly wrong. Just to warn you. Let's do our brake check once we're around this corner.
Brake check.
Pressure 0.
And I'll ding one of these buttons to inform the cabin crew that we're almost ready. Now the auto brake being set to max, I'm pretty sure the co-pilot does, because whenever I set it, it goes off again. So I'm going to leave that, but then I won't be able to test the takeoff config, will I? Okay, more or less okay. Now this is a little bit of a discrepancy between FS2 crew and the A320NX, because you actually tell the cabin crew seats for takeoff later with FS2 crew. Which is a minor thing, but it upsets the obsessive compulsive part of my brain. Okay, we'll turn the weather radar on. And we'll do the before start checklist down to the line.
Before takeoff checklist.
Before
Flight
takeoff
controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flight instruments.
Checked.
Checked. Briefing.
Confirmed.
Flap setting.
Config 1 plus F.
Config 1 plus F. V1, VR, V2, flex temp.
Let's double check these.
V1, 1, 2, 7. VR 1, 3, 4, V2 1, 3, 6.
V1, 1, 2, 7, VR 1, 3, 4, V2 1, 3, 6, ATC.
Set.
ECAM memo.
Take off no blue.
Down to the line.
There's a little bit of blue. But as I say, that will disappear shortly. So our departure routing takes us off to the south-southeast, and then on a slow sweeping turn round to the right to head back north-northwest, and then we'll be turning left to head south, well, yeah, southwest along the length of Japan, really, more or less.
All Nippon 663 contact tower on 118.1. Have a good morning.
Tower on 118.1, all Nippon 663.
It isn't just you, Tomalim. I have heard other people say the same. Personally, I haven't noticed much of a difference, but I probably haven't looked too closely because I don't want to see it if it's if it's true. I'm disappointed enough with the fact that I can't fly the CJ4 anymore and all the other bits and bobs I've found that are worse in this version. So I like to keep my rose-tinted glasses on as much as possible. Tower all Nippon 663, ready for departure, runway 16 left.
All Nippon 663 hold short for traffic on final runway 16 left.
Hold short runway 16 left, all Nippon 663.
That's interesting. I didn't think that Pilot 2ATC could see the AI traffic or live traffic in this sim. Curious. I can't see any. Anything coming the other way, perhaps? No. Well, we could be here a while. Oh no, there is, look! Well, I never. Well, Pilot 2ATC is better than I thought. There's actual traffic. And it's going the right way and everything. That's
all
nice.
Nippon 663 winds are light and variable, cleared for takeoff.
No, I'm
runway 16 left, caution wake turbulence, squawk 5035.
Maybe it can't see it on the ground.
Runway 16 left, squawking 5035, all Nippon 663.
Yeah, maybe it can't see it on the ground because we shouldn't be being cleared for takeoff without, well, with a plane on the runway. Anyway, right, strobe on. Runway turn off lights on. Landing lights on. And we should, for takeoff, have our dome light on dim.
Below the line.
Cabin crew, be seated for takeoff. Takeoff runway.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. Cabin crew.
Advised.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
Packs.
On.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
So I'm pretty sure it can't control the live traffic, but the fact that it can see it is a step in the right direction, isn't it? Now, will I end up damaging my landing gear with this takeoff again?
Ready?
Ready.
Takeoff. Manflex, SRS, runway, auto thrust blue.
Check. Thrust set. "100 knots.
Check.
V1. Rotate.
Going to rotate ever so slowly because I'm worried about my landing gear. Yay! And we'll pitch up a little more now. Now this would be a good time, I feel, to ask those of you who are new to the channel to please do click on the like button below. It makes a big difference to how much my videos get seen. And also click the subscribe button or follow me if you're on Twitch if you haven't already. Thank you. So we'll wait for 1500 feet and reduce the power to climb setting. Here we are.
All Nippon 663 contact Tokyo departure on 127.6. Enjoy your morning.
Departure on 127.6 All Nippon 663.
Flight director's very keen for me to turn right. I don't know why.
Departure All Nippon 663 climbing to flight level 250.
All Nippon 663 good morning. Squawk 5035.
Squawk
AP1,
5035 All Nippon 663.
So we are passing the acceleration altitude, so the aircraft's going to drop the nose to speed us up to our climb speed.
All Nippon 663 climb and maintain flight level 250.
Climb and
0.
maintain flight level
Speed
250
checked.
All Nippon 663.
Flaps 0.
There's that thing I mentioned on approach in the last Japan flight that I still haven't googled. And the autopilot hasn't even tried to kill us yet, so that's good. Right, let's do the after takeoff climb checklist.
After takeoff, climb checklist.
Landing gear.
Up.
Flaps.
Retracted.
Packs.
On.
Down to the line.
So we can turn off the runway turn-off lights now. And we can turn off the nose light. Quite nice to have a bit of, there we are, a bit of visibility up on the panel there. So yes, I was talking about doing the return leg of our London City to Saint-Tropez flight in the Citation CJ4. Had a go at that yesterday, and the latest patch has really broken that aircraft quite a lot. It was porpoising all the way up to cruising altitude, and even once it was up there. So I thought let's do this instead.
Climb to flight level 250.
Expedite climb to flight level 250 All Nippon 663.
Pilot to ATC is always talking about expediting the climb, and all we've done is lowered the nose to increase our speed after 10,000 feet, which is what we should be doing. So I haven't read the manual in full because it's very, very long, but I'd like to think there might be an option to make them a little less quick to nag. Anyway, talking of passing 10,000 feet, we ought to do stuff. Like turn the landing lights off and turn the seatbelt sign off because it's nice and smooth. And we're climbing all the way up to flight level 250. Passing the transition altitude, we'll set standard pressure and finish the checklist. I'm hoping you'll get to see Mount Fuji. Should be on our right, not too far. Is this it? Yes, I think so. Might be shrouded in cloud, but it gives us something to look forward to on the return leg, which I'll definitely do at some point. It is beautiful, Japan Samsonite, yeah, it's lovely, both in the sim and in the real world. Bit of sunlight there from a break in the clouds. Yeah, it is beautiful in here in FS 2020, definitely. I started the Japan tour, or whatever it's called, Tour of Japan, the activity. You must go. I highly recommend it. And yeah, there's some sights to be seen in that. It's all just a little bit too quick in the King Air, so I might try and redo it in the Cessna at some point, leg by leg. That might be cool. Trouble is, I'm very keen to carry on with my VFR tour around Britain, and there are some spectacular parts of Britain. I think not the next one, but the one after. We're going to be probably flying over the what do you call it? Snowdonia, the Snowdonia National Park, and that's stunning. But at the same time, there's a lot of just flat fields in the UK, so I don't want to just abandon it and start flying around Japan instead. But
Tokyo Center on 134.15.
yeah, I want to do everything. I want to do everything in this sim. I've got to pick and choose a bit. Rory, welcome. I forgive you for being late, and we did miss you a lot. It's very nice to have you here. Right, let's set standard pressure.
All Nippon 663 climbing to flight level 250.
All Nippon 663, good morning. Squawk 5035.
Set standard.
Standard, cross-checked, passing flight level 192.
All Nippon 663 radar contact.
Now.
Check. Below the line.
Barrow ref.
Standard set.
Standard set. After takeoff checklist complete.
Now, those of you who are regulars on the stream, is the stream looking less stuttery than it has in the past, by chance? There's the famous Microsoft Flight Simulator instant ice, second you go near a cloud. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool, it looks beautiful. It would just be nice to only see it when it's appropriate, you know? Oh yeah, what do you do for work, Samsonite? Bit of light chop. Just going to look at the weather in Nagasaki. It's pretty similar, unfortunately. Few clouds at 5,000, scattered at 8,000, broken at 9,000. Still, the approach will be nice. Oh, cool, cool. Do you enjoy it? Donata's like a handling agent, right? Is that, am I right? Okay.
All Nippon 663
Must
climb
be
and
varied,
maintain flight
dealing with
level
cargo and passengers.
340.
Climb and maintain flight level 340 All Nippon 663.
Yeah, the decrease in passengers must be phenomenal at the moment. I'm very much hoping that what I read in the paper this morning is not just wishful thinking, and that we may have a mass vaccination program in about 6 months' time. I can't remember who the source was, but it was someone reliable. Is there more cargo since this started, or is it just a case of proportionally more compared with passengers and what it used to be? I have found it... So the only bug I've found, Rory, is I experienced on my landing at Heathrow, which is something other people have been experiencing all the way along. Namely that it rolls to the left suddenly on short final and becomes uncontrollable. But that's only happened once so far, touchwood. What are you experiencing? And you've definitely got the latest version, right? The latest stable, which I can't remember. Is it 0.3.2 maybe? Let me check my facts. No, it doesn't say. It doesn't say on their GitHub. Oh, hello, Flightzilla. No, I didn't even know you were here, to be honest. Let me have a look at the YouTube chat. Yeah, it's really odd, Rory, how some people are experiencing things that others aren't. It's weird. You'd have thought the same product would work in a similar way, at least, on everyone's systems. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've done one reinstall. I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Faisal. How are you? I can't see it on the YouTube page, either. Tell me again. Tell me again. Really? That's amazing. Emirates Airline are full of flowers. What, do they just sort of put them on the seats, or have they reconfigured them or something like that? Hi Stuart, welcome to the stream. I personally am really quite happy with my performance. My rig is probably 4 years old now, and yeah, I get the odd stutter, but I've got everything on Ultra and it runs pretty smoothly, to be honest. So yeah, I would like a 3080 graphics card, same as everyone else, and I would like a faster processor, but with performance as good as it is at the moment, I don't see any great rush to do that and spend the money. Wow. So why the increase in air cargo? I don't know, Pablo. I went for 32 gigs when I got this.
663 climb and maintain flight level 340.
Yeah, that's odd. It's decided to just level off.
Flight level 340, all Nippon 663.
Yeah, so I had 32 gigs of RAM anyway. From what I've read, I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference. Put it this way, Stuart, if I was buying a new computer now and starting from scratch, I would spec it higher than what I've got. But because I've got what I've got and it works alright, I don't think it's worth me spending more money on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments we'll begin our meal service for the flight. Please refer to the menu given to you on boarding for the 2 meal choices and the beverage choices available. We request that you
All
keep the
Nippon
aisles
663
clear to
expedite
assist the
climb to flight level
attendants with radio
340.
efficiency and also for your own
Expedite
safety.
climb to
Thank you.
flight level 340 all Nippon 663.
Something weird's going on with the autopilot here. I wonder if it's because of the wind and the turbulence. We've got 48 knot headwind. It's not super strong for these altitudes, but it does seem to be affecting its reading of the airspeed a bit. Oh, I see. So people like Emirates have just been sort of sourcing or sort of trying to expand the freight market and finding customers to put flowers on the seats. It's a weird world, isn't it? It's a weird world. You'd have thought if there had been a need for that level of air transportation for cargo, it would have existed before all of this, but there you are, apparently not. Oh, brilliant! Right. Saves me Googling it. Thanks for that, Flizer. It's really interesting. So it's just a ventilation shaft. It's a very pretty ventilation shaft there, isn't it?
Hi, how can I help you?
Hello, could you bring us up a couple of crew meals, please?
Okay, I'll bring them up in a minute.
Just feeling a bit peckish, you know. A bit virtually peckish.
Hi guys, here are the crew meals you asked for. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Oh, I read it, Flightzilla. I read it. And it is showing up. It is showing up in the stream. Yeah, honestly, it's so confusing because this whole in-stream chat worked for a long time on Twitch but didn't work properly on YouTube, so I had both windows open, and then what I see next to my stream isn't quite the same as what you see in the stream. It's all very complicated. Hello P. Bamford, I am using this is part of Flight Crew A320, which gives you a virtual first officer and also some cabin crew announcements as well. I tell you what, Samsonite, when this is all over, I'd love to come and spend a day at work with you at Schiphol. It'd be fascinating. And when I say this, I mean COVID, not this flight. No problem, no problem. It's a good add-on. I've done a first look video if you want to see more about it. It's on my what do you call it, reviews and first looks playlists. There's also a link in the description if you want to look at their website. My first look video is essentially just a flight where I give my opinion on it as well. I think we did, was it Seattle? San Francisco to Seattle? Something like that. I think it was that. Yeah, I bet it's a nice place to work. I've been flight simming for longer than I care to remember, Rory. Flight sim for Windows 95 was my first ever sim when I was about 12, something like that. So over 20 years. Oh right, were you made redundant, Samsonite, from KLM? I might, Pablo. Yes, I am. I tell you what I'm going to do a review of. The Wickham Air Park scenery that's available from Orbex by Pilot Plus. I don't usually do small airports because I don't tend to buy most of them, but it's just fantastic. And it's also the place where I first flew, where I had my first ever trial flight in a Cessna. And it's like you're there. So yeah, I'm going to do a review of that. I'm a little bit tempted to buy Latin VFR's Miami. Not Miami, we've got Miami. What have they just released? Can't remember. They've just released an airport that looks quite good, so I might buy that and review it. It's one that I had the Orbex version of in prepared. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's a West Coast US airport. I can't remember which one it is. San Diego, that's the one. But I'm spending a lot of money on add-ons, and I need to slow down a little bit. And I think I'll probably mostly focus on European airports, because I do most of my flying in Europe. Again, pity about the weather. So we've got about an hour and 5 minutes left to run till landing, which will put us at 0330 Zulu, which is 20 minutes ahead of schedule if that's accurate, so that's pretty good. I haven't had a look at Malaga yet. I was hoping they'd done something nice with it, having added it in with the last update, but it's just a default type thing, is it? Oh God, Samson, it must have been a stressful time. Aviation's such a sort of fickle industry, isn't it? Oh, okay. LBA, let me have a quick look at it. Yeah, it does look nice. It does look nice. Yeah, I might give it a go. I've just bought... What I like to try and do is actually use the airports that I've purchased before I go on and purchase another one. So Bristol, I bought. I like it. I did a review of it. But I haven't actually done a flight out of it yet. Yeah, I didn't recognise it as Leeds. That was shameful. I was thinking KLBA, where's that? I don't know why I thought you were in America. Oh, I'm pleased you got support from the government, but nonetheless, 3 months not knowing where your next job's coming from can't have been great. Yeah, I probably will buy Leeds in the end. I probably will. It does look good. But yeah, I think I'm going to probably, if I've got the time, do a VFR stream the next of my Bimbles Around Britain series tomorrow at some point. And I'm tempted, I haven't actually looked at how long it would take, but I'm tempted to fly from where we are on the Isle of Wight up to Bristol, land at Bristol, and then the next leg we can push on up to Wales, and there's some spectacular scenery up there. If in doubt, buy. That's got me into trouble before though, Pablo. I bet you are, Samsonite. Yeah, it must be a real relief. And if you enjoy what you're doing when you go to work, then that's your life pretty sorted, I would say. You spend enough of it there, don't you? What, Isle of Wight to Bristol, you mean, Pablo? Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Howarden. Howarden? Can't even pronounce my own language. Yeah, I think if I haven't bought it by the time I get to that bit of my round Britain tour in the Cessna, I will buy Leeds Bradford then, and probably pop into Howarden. Harden, really? I'd never have guessed that. Well, I didn't guess that, as you heard. Right, what is my favourite aircraft? Oh, in the whole world, my favourite aircraft is, well, that's flying today, is probably the 747-400. And it's just beautiful. In the sim, it's this one. It's this A320, because I like flying airliners, and it's the only airliner that flies anywhere close to realistically. The anti-ice is on. The anti-ice is all on. It's a sim thing. You go near a cloud and your plane is instantly covered in ice. It doesn't affect the flight model as long as you've got your anti-ice on, but you still see it. Yeah, the 777's a good plane. I did my first ever long haul in real life in the 777. Much more comfortable than the 74. In my experience, and quieter, but from an aesthetic point of view, you can't beat a 747. Good for you, Mossy. It is expensive, but it's worth it just not to have to talk to the pushback tug through ATC. I think personally. Hooray, 100 messages. Thank you, everyone. What, in this sim, Pablo, was that?
All Nippon 663 contact Tokyo Center on 124.905. Have a good one.
Center on 124.905. All Nippon 663.
Well, that's some fine
Center
piloting, I
all
must
Nippon
say.
663 climbing to flight level 340.
All Nippon 663. Good morning. Radar contact.
I've only flown the 747 and the 787 once each, and I decided I just couldn't stand how far away they were from working. But I can't wait for them to be fixed. What I'd like is for them to be fixed by the time I get to 1,000 subscribers. Which is not an encouragement not to subscribe to my channel, by the way. You all must do that if you haven't already. But it would be nice to do sort of a real proper long haul, maybe Heathrow to San Francisco, to celebrate that, and not to be driven mad by the inaccurate flight models in the process. Yeah, the 747-8 is also a beauty. It's just I haven't flown on one. I suppose that's why I think the 744 is my favourite. Do I know if the FlyLive Studio overlay works with the NVIDIA game capture, or is it just OBS? Ooh, I don't know. I've never used NVIDIA game capture. I'm not sure. it's basically I think you copy and paste. I've turned it off because I think it was responsible for the massive stutters we were getting in landing. But if I remember rightly, you copy and paste an HTML code, or just a link. So if you can paste a link into NVIDIA Game Capture, like a local host link, then it should work. Is it less noisy? I suppose it would be. Much more modern engines, better built. I just wish more airlines had bought it and were flying it, I have to say, because I think the chances of me going on one are pretty slim. And I'm just not quite enough of an av geek to pay extra to fly somewhere via Frankfurt, say. I hope you're not planning on streaming flights, although the market's very saturated. I'm joking, of course. Oh, the ice seems to be melting off. That's good. Oh, I'll have to come and watch one flies here. I'd like to see you in action. The MD-11 comes sometimes. That one is. Yes, I've heard an MD-11 taking off and landing. Yeah, it's a nice aircraft. It's a nice aircraft. I've never flown one in any sims because I tend to only fork out for airliners that I can do real world routes in, sort of up to date real world routes. But it's a shame because it is a beautiful plane. Now, if you want to do short haul around Europe, you need an A320. If you want to do long haul from Europe, you need 777s, 747s, A330s, that sort of thing. I liked the Boeing 727 as well. I did fly that one in a very old, I think that was FS98 I was flying that in. But that was cool. That was when I really didn't know what I was doing, but it was still just such a thrill to be able to take off, point the plane in the right direction and end up somewhere else. So I used to fly between LA and New York just with a heading. I just took off, put the autopilot on, set a heading, and waited till I could see the sea out the window, basically. Yes, yeah, that's true. Must be back-breaking work. I'm just wondering about climbing out of this cloud a little bit. I think I might request flight level 360. All Nippon 663 request climb to flight level 360.
All Nippon 663 climb and maintain flight level 360.
Climb and maintain flight level 360 all Nippon 663.
Oh, good, good. Yes, yeah. Yeah, you got to look after your back. I'll try it, Pablo. I will try it. All Nippon 663, request radio check.
All Nippon 663, you are loud and clear.
Yes, yes, it turns out you can. So this is the first voice recognition ATC add-on that I've used, and I've never fancied it before because, well, I don't know. Well, firstly, I've never had a headset. Secondly, I've never particularly wanted to sit at the computer in a headset. But because I'm now streaming and talking to you anyway, I thought I may as well give it a go. And I don't think I'd go back to pushing buttons to talk to them now. It is good. It is good. I struggled with it yesterday. What happened yesterday? This is when I was trying out the CJ4 in preparation for the Saint-Tropez to London City flight, which of course we're not doing because the aeroplane's broken. And I wanted a runway 6, is it? Departure from Saint-Tropez. Put that into the flight plan. Chose to force ATC to accept my runway choices. And then when I requested IFR clearance, it kept changing to the opposite runway. So I don't know how to get around that, but that's not something that happens very often. Right, I'm just going to go and powder my nose. I'll be back in a second. So the CJ4 autopilot is going back to what it did during the alpha and beta, and I think the first release build, where it just porpoises up and down. So every time you are climbing, or even when you're trying to fly level, it just isn't stable. I'm sure they'll fix it in the next patch, and probably break something else at the same time. It's not the Microsoft ATC I'm using though, Samsonite. This is Pilot to ATC which was doing it, and that surprised me because I thought you were supposed to be able to insist on a particular departure. I know, me too. Me too. It was never all that perfect, but it was a lot of fun to fly, and now it's not even that. So yeah, it's A320 and the light aircraft for me for now. Oh, you'd like a wing view, please, would you have? Okay, let me see what I can do for you. Can never remember where it is, but it's not a bad idea. It's one of the quick views, isn't it? Is it 7 and 8? No. Is it common? No, it's not one of the externals, is it? Or is it? No. Is it one of the showcase views? Yes, there you are. There's your wing view. Can you set that to a preset? Just going to try that out. We'll come back to it, don't worry. No, apparently not. Yes, I don't think there's any ATC add-ons that actually are that aware of which runways are in use, but you should at least be able to request one and get assigned it, shouldn't you? Oh really? Alright, I will have a look at it. If that's what the people want, Flightzilla, that is what I shall provide. So we're just over halfway now. We're approaching Okayama. Although you must appreciate my expert drone flying skills. I almost invested in an Xbox controller specifically for the drone because I'm just using my joystick, and I thought, no, that really is an expense too far. He does, yeah, he's got very good videos, as does Squirrel. I have to admit I haven't watched much of either of them lately because I've been flying mostly. But in the run-up to release, I watched a lot of both of them. Yeah, it took me a good few months, Pablo, in the alpha to work out how on earth to assign proper controls to it and that. I did, yeah, I did something. And you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I watched a YouTube video of him, and there is a certain similarity. Yeah, it is. It's very addictive. I don't know if you watched the developer Q&A the other day, but I found that very reassuring in terms of their commitment to its future and making it better. And also their Europe, what do they call it? World Discovery, is it? Yeah, their Look Around the World series. There are so many places there I want to fly now. Yeah, I want to fly everywhere, really. And I really should do more VFR stuff. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that as well, Hudson. A little bit. I'm less worried having watched that interview, though, that they really do want this to be a sim and not just an Xbox money spinner. Oh right, I've never played any of the F1 games. Does it have him in it? Does it have what's his name, Martin Brundle? No, I guess he must be a bit old to still be in the game, isn't he? It's weird that you can't change it to English though. You'd have thought you'd be able to pick your language, wouldn't you? Right. Yeah, they weren't particularly committed to supporting the A320NX, were they? I got the impression they wanted to, but there was something stopping them, and maybe it's Airbus, or maybe, as Tomlin said, this is a bit of a conspiracy theory, maybe it's because Aerosoft are planning on releasing their A320. I think it's their second project after the CRJ. So they might be a little bit wary of their reaction if they support a freeware alternative. I don't know. Oh right, that's a shame, Samson. What I really want is the FS Labs A320. Because that was a brilliant, brilliant plane. I bought the Aerosoft one at launch, and it was alright. It was alright, but it wasn't, I don't know, you hit some turbulence in it and it behaved very oddly. Yeah, the CRJ I'm going to be snapping up. And I'm going to fly some CRJ routes because, yeah, it's a nice looking plane.
663 contact Tokyo Center on 132.5. Have a good morning.
Center on 132.5. All Nippon 663.
Yeah, so the FS Labs is probably, in my opinion, the most realistic airliner simulation that's ever been released for a Microsoft simulator. Possibly any simulator. It's very expensive. Took them a very, very, very long time to get it going. I think there was about 7 years between them announcing the project and it being released for FSX. So I don't think it's going to be coming into MSFS anytime soon, but it is brilliant. The flight is in total, Mossy, about just under 2 hours, or scheduled for just under 2 hours, probably more likely an hour and a half. And I will tell you, so we are 10 minutes from our top of descent, about 35 minutes from arrival. Yes, the FS Labs was on FSX and P3D. Well, I think we may as well start setting up for our approach. Yes, I would like the Quality Wing 787 as well. I want everything. That's the trouble. I want every single aircraft I bought from my previous sim to be ported over to this. And it will happen. I mean, Quality Wings will bring the 787. It just depends how long it takes them.
You have control.
I have control.
Right, so first thing, we'll get the latest METAR for Nagasaki. So we've got winds 340 at 5. So we can probably expect a runway 32 approach. And looking at my charts, the one I want is the ILS Zulu. So I'm going to put that in, and we can always change it. And we want to go via Fubuki. Over to the perf page. Move along to the approach phase. QNH is 1014. Temperature is 23. Mm. 340 at 5. Transition altitude is going to be 14,000 again. And according to the approach plate, the MDA is 215 feet. Not 25, 215. And that is us done.
I have control.
You have control.
Yeah, we do want it, or we do want it now. The 737 will be coming, but later than PMDG were hoping. Quarter 3 or quarter 4 next year, they reckon. So potentially a year off. Yeah, it is pure joy, definitely. You will, Pablo. And was it you who suggested I do tutorials for the A320? I can't remember. Someone did. I'm considering it. I've been watching other people's and trying to work out if I actually have anything to add or not. And as I said at the beginning, I think there might be scope for doing something that allows you to fly it realistically but set it up fairly quickly. So yeah, it's something that I'll give some thought to down the line. Yeah. I think the PMDG 737 was the first. No, it wasn't the first. I used to fly the. Does anyone remember the Phoenix PSS 777? I think that was the first add-on aircraft I bought. All right, Pablo, you've convinced me. I'll do it. I don't know when, but I will. Possibly probably be after next Wednesday. I've got 5 days off then. The thing is, the truth of the matter is, I enjoy flying. The other videos I do, the reviews and the how-tos, I think they're useful for people, and that's why I do them, but I don't have fun at the same time. But yeah, if there's a demand of at least one person, Pablo, then I shall do it for you. Oh, I never tried the iFly 737. I heard it was a close competitor to the PMGG though.
All Nippon 663 expect the Fubuki arrival with the Ogi transition for the ILS approach to runway 32 at Nagasaki after DGC cleared direct Ogi.
Expect the Fubuki arrival with the Ogi transition for the ILS approach to runway 32 after DGC cleared direct Ogi. All Nippon 663.
So that's what we have planned, DGC and then Ogi. And we're expecting a runway 32 approach. Good, how does it? Right, I'll do it. I'm convinced. A semi-serious fun approach. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I'll try and do that. Oh, thanks, Mossy. That's nice of you to say so. Thank you for the follow, Huddison. Appreciate it. As I said the other day, I do this for the love and flattery, really. That's why I'm here. You've provided that in spades, so I'll do your bloomin' tutorial, alright? And would you like it sort of split into different sections? That's what I was planning on doing. So maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, cold and dark to engine start, and then separate ones on takeoff, climb out, approach and landing, maybe something like that. Okay, cool. quite like to start our descent roundabout now, but we'll wait for clearance. It's not super urgent.
All Nippon 663 descend to cross Ogi at flight level 140, then descend via the Fuji arrival with the Ogi transition to 2,600 feet. QNH is 1013 at Nagasaki.
We'll cross Ogi at flight level 140, then descend via the Fubuki arrival with the Ogi transition to 2,600 feet. QNH is 1013. All Nippon 663.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. Cross Ogi at flight level 140, fine. Then descend via the Fubuki arrival with the Ogi transition to 2,600 feet. That's a big old descent. But okay, we'll try it. So, Ogi, flight level 140. Can we put that in here and will it work? So we should be able to put the altitude constraint in there. We should be able to put it in as either a flight level or an altitude, but we can't, so we'll have to put it not 140,000. We'll have to do that. And the minus suggests that we're asking it to be at or below 14,000 feet. But you can't get rid of that in this particular plane. It should just say 14,000. But I believe that it will stop our descent at 14,000. So let's just try it. Let's just go. I don't want to risk it going wild, so let's just allow it to go to 13,000 and see if it stops at 14,000. So Ogi is just here, so that's where we want to be crossing at 14,000. And I'm going to bring up the approach plate on my iPad. Yeah, so Fubuki at, what did she say, 2,600? Or, yeah, actually, ignore me, what she said does make sense. It's just not what I'm used to. But yeah, at Fubuki we should be at or above 2,600, so let's put that in as well, if it isn't already in there. It should already be in there. And it is, brilliant. Hello Hunter X, welcome to the stream. We've just started our descent. So it's a good time to join us. And we're trying out the old altitude constraints on the A320X and seeing if they work or not. So we definitely don't need to be descending this fast. And we could of course control that with vertical speed. No, it's decided it doesn't want to descend at all now. Do we have another constraint in there somewhere? Not really, no. Oh, it's slowing us down. Okay, fair enough. So again, in the FS Labs and other sort of more detailed simulations, it would descend at such a rate to allow our speed slowly to bleed off, as opposed to just stopping the descent and waiting for the speed to drop. 737 is going to be released by PMDG. They don't know when exactly, but they think it'll probably be the 3rd or 4th quarter next year. But they're hoping it'll be sooner. As are we all. Yeah, it's possible. The thing is, I think the issue is that no one really knows yet how to make complex aircraft for this sim because the SDK isn't complete. But once it is complete, then yeah, there's some talented people out there who might well be able to have a go at it. I hope so. I've got to be honest, much as I enjoyed flying the FS Labs and I really like that level of fidelity in a simulator, if the fly-by-wire guys keep going with this mod and get a few more of the bugs ironed out, then I'm certainly going to be thinking twice about spending another £130 or whatever on an FS Labs aircraft. Hello Max, how are you? Nice to see you. Listen, did you subscribe to my channel on YouTube, or did you follow me on Twitch? Because it says followed, which to me means Twitch generally, but I see that you're chatting on YouTube, and I'm just wondering if my Streamlabs is being a bit weird. Yeah, I thought that was the case. I'll have to check my settings after the stream. Previous one, it was very clear. It had a little logo, who was on Twitch, who was on YouTube. And if someone subscribed on YouTube, it said, flashed up, so-and-so has subscribed. And if it's on Twitch, flashed up, so-and-so has followed. But I don't know. Good. I'm going to say they'll definitely be out by Christmas. And anything earlier will be a bonus. No, I'll have a go at them either this weekend or towards the end of next week. Oh, Max, that's awful. I've been there. I did a 3-hour flight. I did a 3-hour stream actually.
Cabin crew,
to
prepare for arrival.
Dubai, and I had the same sort of thing. It crashed just as we were nearing our approach. I have tried the VFR map, and I haven't experienced that so far, but I'm definitely going to stop chancing my luck. So seatbelt sign on, passing 20,000 feet. Ooh, look at those clouds. So Nagasaki, where we're approaching now, is one of the airports that Gaia Sim helped to build. So it should be quite nice to look at, I hope. Or what do I mean, I hope? I'm going to be honest with you, I have had a look, it's very nice. I like to build a bit of suspense, but I don't like to lie to you people. Yeah, my VFR map was fine before the update, and so far it has been since the update as well, but I don't want to risk it. I was reassured to see the two developers, the Microsoft guy and the Asobo guy, in that interview saying that they accepted they'd rushed things out in terms of patches, so I'm hopeful that the next one will fix a lot more than it breaks. including that VFR map thing. What's it doing now? Oh, okay, it's keeping us at above 14,000, I presume, to comply with our altitude constraints, so that's good. Just going to check the RadNav page to make sure the ILS frequency is in there. It isn't. It's interesting. I've normally only experienced this with add-on airports, not default ones. But no biggie. ILS Zulu 110.9. And the course should actually be 325, which is a little worrying, because I don't think you can change it. Oh, sugar. Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that. Ah, it's alright. Just checking I had the right airport in, but I accidentally typed a new destination in. Runway 32, Fukichara. Yeah, that's all good. So it's only the course we need to worry about, and the plane trying to kill us on final, of course. I would say that... Oh, I don't know. I don't know if there'll be a Dash 8-100. I know there was a really good Q400 for P3D and FSX, which I think will be ported across, but yeah, I'm not sure about that one. It's odd that it's leveled us off at 15,200, isn't it? Is that one of the constraints that it thinks are in the star but aren't? That we can't delete? Yes. That's weird, isn't it? I don't think you can delete them, no. So again, you should be able to press clear, click that, and then that figure should disappear, but it doesn't work on this. This town we're about to fly over now is Nogata. Oh really, Max? Is it what, with zero payload, you mean? Or just a very low one, I suppose. I don't know if you can get it to zero. Maybe I'll try that. Again, I don't know if it's got worse since this patch. It seemed alright before that. Yeah, it's a lot, yeah, it is a lot of ice. Temperature in Nagasaki at the moment is 23 degrees. I mean, we shouldn't have any ice on the wing or the tailplane because the anti-ice is on. Not entirely sure about the rest of it. But definitely the icing model in this is overdone. Alright, Max, I'll have a play around with that. Thanks for the tip. Next flight, minimal payload. The other thing I've noticed is that the V approach speeds are significantly higher than I would expect them to be, and in the past I've turned them down to sort of 145, which is a fairly typical V approach. But then last time I did that, I basically lost control of the aircraft just before touchdown. So I'm going to actually try and fly it at 158 and see what happens this time. Right. Right, yeah, I had read that and I'd forgotten that that was part of the issue. The thing is, I've always managed it fine with the realistic planned payload, but it's since this patch it's just gone wrong. Oh, thanks, Addison. I'm glad you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Yeah, Flight Crew A320 is brilliant. Pilot to ATC is brilliant. I'd recommend both of them. So yeah, 158 knot approach. We'll see how that goes. Not convinced.
All Nippon 663 contact Tokyo Center on 126.1. Have a nice day.
Center on 126.1 All Nippon 663. Center All Nippon 663 descending to 2,600 feet.
All Nippon 663 good afternoon. Radar contact.
So this is Shingu that we're flying over at the moment, and we're going to make a left turn overhead this area, and that's Fukuoka. Yeah, I've got to be honest, Max, I've never been all that tempted by passenger add-ons. I don't know why. It's just not my thing. Sort of the cabin announcements I get from FSG crew are about as much as I need in terms of crew and passenger interaction. It's probably also slightly that I don't want to see them complaining about my landings and that sort of thing. Pretty spectacular views, aren't they? Good, so it seems to be following our 14,000 foot constraint that we input earlier. Just have another look at the chart. So Paddy doesn't have a constraint at all, but 11,000 is fine. They did say to cross Ogi at 14,000, didn't they? Oh, I can't remember now. I'm going to have to scroll up. Cross Ogi at flight level 140. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Tara 7000, that is correct. TACAC 5000, that is also correct. And the 230 is not quite right, that should apply from Obama. And we don't want a 5,000 foot restriction either there, so I might try and lower that. Let's try. So if we go into TACAC, we can't delete the speed restriction, but we will increase it to 250. Not yet implemented. Okay. It's nice of them to tell us at least. So we can't do anything with the speed, but we can do something with the altitude, hopefully. So maybe if we change Obama to, I don't know, 3,200, that'll give us a more realistic descent. And then ANO, we should be at 210 knots, so that's fine. We don't want it to be 5,000, we want it to be very close to 2,600. Let's try 2,750, see what that does. And then Chara, yeah, that's fine, 2,600 or above. Runway 32 at flight level 340, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, we can't change that. It's fine, we'll be established on the ILS by then anyway. Oh right, okay, 10 knots more. Yeah, I don't want to do that, so I will in future lower the payload. And I'm just going to try this time flying at the calculated V approach, even though it seems too fast, and hope that that's all right. Because it was all fine on my first flight post patch, which was I can't remember, somewhere in the north of Japan to Haneda. That was fine. And the bug only kicked in for me after that on the second flight I did, which was Edinburgh to Heathrow.
All Nippon 663 contact Nagasaki approach on 119.17. Have a good afternoon.
Approach on 119.17 All Nippon 663. Approach All Nippon 663 at 14,000 feet.
All Nippon 663 good afternoon. Radar contact. Continue descent via the Fubuki arrival. For the ILS approach to runway 32 at Nagasaki.
Continue descent via the Fubuki arrival. For the ILS approach to runway 32 All Nippon 663.
Okay, well this is recommending 158. It won't actually slow down to 158 anyway, I know this because Copilot always tells me to check the speed for the flap extension. So I'll fiddle around with the manual speed and we'll just have to have a little guess, see what feels right, but certainly not get too slow. I'll probably go for 155, 154. Because I've got a feeling that the calculated approach speed is already far too fast. Which reminds me, we've got to set the auto brake. And we're descending below the transition level now, so we will set low... Oh, sugar, I've put the gear down, didn't want to do that. It's because I hit the G key instead of the B. So, right, 1014, local pressure.
1014 set.
1014 set. Passing 12,300. Now.
Check.
And we're ready for the approach checklist.
Approach checklist.
Briefing.
Confirmed.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Baro ref.
1014 set.
1014 set. Minimum. Engine mode selector.
Normal.
Approach checklist complete.
Hi Craig, I have a first look video, but it's essentially a full flight. I don't have a sort of short and snappy, this is what it is, this is what it does. But yeah, if you look in my first looks and reviews playlist on YouTube, you will see it there. And I sort of talk you through what it does as we go along. I think it was a flight from San Francisco to Seattle.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving at our destination shortly. If you're making a connecting flight, please visit us for the service station waiting for flight or the video monitors inside the terminal for connecting gate information. For your continued safety, flight attendants
Right,
will
passing
now
through
walk
10,000, landing lights on,
We'll collect
and runway
any
turn off
obsolete
lights on.
newspapers and any other items
And we'll arm the
that
speed
may
brake.
or may not be taken off the aircraft with you. Also, in preparation for landing, please turn off all electronic devices, stow these devices within all other carry-on items. Please use caution when opening the overhead bins, as items may have shifted during our flight. Please stow your tray tables and return your seats.
Yeah, the default ATC always descends you too late, it's true. Pilot to ATC I found better. So it's now slowing us down to meet that speed constraint, which is incorrect, but at least it's doing what it says it's going to do. That's nice. It's only the most recent release of the A320nx that has had these constraints operational, I believe. It's lovely, isn't it? I just wait for ATC to tell me when to descend, but you can calculate it by looking at your distance to travel. So your distance from where you... So you need to know your descent rate, your optimal descent rate, and from that you can work out when you need to start descending at your given airspeed. There's a formula that I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you Google it, you'll find it. Something like 3 times the height you need to lose. No, I don't know. Because I spend so long flying airliners, which calculate your top of descent point for you, I tend to rely on either that or air traffic control. And when I'm flying the Cessna, I don't go that high, I suppose. So it's just works. They do need to add top of descent, yeah, definitely. Alex, thank you for your subscription, appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. The A320 mod does have a top of descent. What's it doing now? Pitching up quite a lot. Oh, okay. I believe we are in the approach phase, so let's get some flaps out.
Flaps 1.
Speed checked.
Yeah, the A320N mod does show a little top
Flaps
of descent
1.
on the ND. I was just pointing with my finger, that's of no use to you. There is a little arrow, but it's not terribly accurate. Max, thank you for subscribing. So TACAC, which is our next waypoint, we should be at or above 5,000 feet, so that is working well. We've got our localizer and glide slope indicators here, so we're within range of the ILS. And as you can see, we're going to be making a right-hand turn to intercept the localizer. And our intercept altitude should be 2,600 feet. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Kia. I don't think I've seen you before. Nice to have you here. So the airport is over here. It's on this little island. Yes, I know, Max. It was very useful. And on the FS Labs. Oh, it'll get there. I'm pretty sure that that's something that the fly-by-wire guys will improve upon in the A320NX mod. Right, I'll just have a gulp of water before things start getting serious. And I believe that we can now arm the approach mode and it won't start doing weird things. Let's just try it. Yes. So as we make this right-hand turn, we should intercept the localizer. Well, they're definitely doing a US update next, Mossy. I reckon they'll do a Europe one before long. And without getting political, I hope the UK's included in that. I'm sure it will be. Oh, I'm pleased. I'm pleased you're watching them, Kier.
All Nippon 663 turn left heading 148 vectors to the ILS approach for runway 32 at Nagasaki.
No, I'm not doing that.
Heading 148 vectors to the ILS approach for runway 32 all Nippon 663.
I'm not, no, you're not vectoring me. I'm
Checked.
landing, sorry. All Nippon 663 request straight in approach runway 34.
All Nippon 663, this is Nagasaki approach on 119.17. Please repeat your request.
I don't know. Nagasaki approach, All Nippon 33. Oh, keep getting my blimmin'. All Nippon 663 request straight in approach runway 32.
All Nippon 663, this is Nagasaki approach on 119.17. Please repeat your request.
Heading 148 all Nippon 663.
Yeah, I'm just going to ignore them.
Checked. Flaps 2.
Speed checked. Flaps 2.
This is probably not Pilot to ATC's fault. This is probably my fault for not configuring it right. Right, let's go into selected speed mode and decrease to 155-ish.
Flaps 3.
Speed checked. Flaps 3.
All Nippon 663 turn right heading 133.
Heading 133 all Nippon 663.
This pitch attitude is alarming for flying straight and level. Maybe this is a bit slow for it. Let's stick to their V approach. The approach mode doesn't seem to have activated. I'm sure I clicked it. Oh dear.
All Nippon 663 turn right heading 127.
Heading 127 all Nippon 663.
Flaps full.
Speed checked.
Flaps full.
Cabin crew, be seated for landing.
I'll catch up with your messages after landing.
Turn right heading 122.
Heading 122 all Nippon 663.
What if we just switch to tower and request landing clearance?
All Nippon 663 contact approach on 119.17.
No.
Contact approach on 119.17 all Nippon 663.
All Nippon 663 on final runway 32.
Approach all Nippon 663 at 1,100 feet.
Checked.
All Nippon 663 radar contact.
Okay, gonna forget about the ATC
Landing
for now.
checklist.
Cabin crew.
Advised.
Auto thrust.
Speed.
Auto brake.
Low.
ECAM memo.
Landing no blue.
Landing checklist complete.
Right, keep your fingers crossed for me. Because this is where it all went horribly wrong last time and I'm having flashbacks.
Continue.
100, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard 5.
Spoilers. No reverse. Engine 1 and 2. Decel.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. A little bit bumpy, but the plane behaved
70
itself.
knots.
Now, are we going to get into trouble for ATC, or are they just going to ignore the fact that I've touched down without any kind of landing clearance? Seems like the latter. That's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of our flight. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign and the aircraft is parked safely. This will be your indication that it is safe to move around the cabin, gather your belongings and disembark.
That was good timing, Shark Gamer. Right, strobes off.
And we hope to see you once again on a future flight. Thank you.
Anti-ice off. Landing lights off. Taxi light has been turned on for us. Runway turn-off lights off.
After landing checklist.
Flaps.
Wasn't bad, was it, Shark Gamer? Not bad.
Retracted.
Spoilers.
Disarmed.
APU.
I think we have external power at the gate here, but we'll turn it on to please the air co-pilot.
Start.
Radar.
Off.
Predictive wind shear system.
Off.
After landing checklist complete.
Ground, all Nippon 663, request taxi to gate 7.
All Nippon 663 taxi to gate Golf 8 via taxiways Tango 4, Papa 3, Papa 2.
Taxi to gate Golf 8 via taxiways Tango 4, Papa 3, Papa 2, all Nippon 663.
I swear the first 2 times I asked Pilot 280C for a specific gate, they gave it to me. Since then, they're not interested in what I want at all. Isn't that lovely? Lovely airport, lovely backdrop. I think we'll definitely be doing the return leg of this flight at some point. So the real world flight did park at gate 7, that's why I was requesting it. And that is the 7th one from this end, because there are 14. Is there something else parked at it though? That's the question. might be. I think that I think that British Airways plane is at gate 7. Mine will go to gate 6. Thank you for the follow or subscribe, Scott. Appreciate it.
Taxi light off.
It would be nice if they could spawn a marshaller at whichever gate you were pulling into, wouldn't it? Oh, hang on, is there someone there? There might be. There's someone there. I don't know if he's a marshaller. We'll see. Can't wait for GSX to turn up in this sim. His mate over here just seemed to disappear briefly, so that's probably wise. With my taxiing skills. Oh, we do have a marshaller. Excellent. Nice. So we have our APU on. We'll turn the APU bleed on. Engines off. Seatbelt sign off. Beacon off. And we'll do our parking checklist.
Parking checklist.
APU bleed.
No, there's no VDGS at any airports in this sim at all.
Off.
Seatbelts.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Set.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Parking brake and chocks.
I lied on the checklist again.
Parking checklist complete.
Well, here we are. Welcome to Nagasaki. Let's have a little look around while we're here. Yeah, emergency services would be a nice touch, wouldn't it? Not a bad bit of parking. Not the best, but not bad. The usual mess of airlines at the other gates, but it's nice to see some life, even if they are the wrong airline. And this is what Gaia Sim has done with Nagasaki. Now this, in my opinion, is a payware quality airport, and we got it for free, along with 2 others. So yeah, can't complain with that. Thanks, Mossy. I enjoyed it as well. It went better than my last one. Thanks, Pablo. Thank you, Huddison. Yeah, I was convinced it was going to try and kill us on short final again, but it didn't. So maybe, as well as the idea of taking virtually no payload, you just need a faster V approach. You need to listen to it when it tells you that, you know, it reckons it should be 158, rather than thinking, well, that's ridiculous, and making it slower. I think I'll try that from now on. It's lovely, isn't it? You can even hear the sound of the waves in the background if you listen closely. Yeah, this is the sort of flight that I really like doing, where you go from the hustle and bustle of a huge city. Not that Nagasaki is a small city, but you know what I mean. Tokyo Haneda, huge airport, and then you land somewhere that's relatively remote and really peaceful and beautiful. So yeah, I'll be doing more flying into and out of here, I think. Unfortunately, the only route to another decent quality airport is that Haneda route. But we may get more payware add-ons for Japan. If we do, I will buy them. Yes, it's free. Yeah, it's free. It's part of the Japan World Update. So if you've updated your Microsoft Flight Simulator to the latest version, you just have to go to the marketplace and click on buy and download, but it's absolutely free. Yeah, there is a lot of... There's more praying involved with this sim than there ought to be, isn't there, Max? Oh, really? You've had the payload issue as well. I can't remember what our payload was. Let's have a quick look. It wasn't super heavy, I don't think. 57. that's basically the figure that SimBrief gave me. I always use the figures that SimBrief gives, and it's always somewhere in the middle region. It's never very light or very heavy. Yeah. Oh, I'm pleased. The A320 with the A320NX add-on, when it works well, it's an absolute joy to fly. But as Max says, there is a certain amount of prayer to getting a decent landing. Yes, and the reason, Samsonite, is that this wasn't built by Asobo like all of the other handcrafted airports. This is the result of their partnership with Gaia Sim. And they are brilliant. Their Vienna add-on's really good. Their COS add-on is really good as well. I've used their products in this sim and also in P3D. So if that carries on and they keep working with them, then I think we can see a lot more of this in future world updates, hopefully. This is presumably some sort of cargo area. So even the detailing on this building, which you're never going to see from an aircraft, is really high quality, isn't it? Beautiful. Yeah, have you used the fly tamper skiffle on previous sims, Samsonite? When they bring that over, it's going to be spectacular. Although the handcrafted one in this is not dreadful. It's not bad. I've done a couple of flights into and out of there because I have a lot of Dutch viewers, and they love skiffle. I love skiffle, but yeah, that's basically why. My next stream is going to be at some point tomorrow. And I will either do, what I'd quite like to do is the next leg of Bimbles Around Britain, probably from the Isle of Wight where we left off last time up to Bristol. But I'm also sorely tempted to come back here and do the return leg to Haneda. So I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely tomorrow, probably 2 PM. And I think we'll call it a day here. But thank you ever so much for your company. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do please like the video, it does make a big difference, and subscribe of course if you haven't already, or follow me on Twitch. Thank you for coming. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.